Hey guys, welcome to another AMA, 2 days after the last one. There's a lot of really great questions and it's impossible to get to all of them in one video. Rather than keep drip feeding AMAs out to have content every single week, I just thought 2 days later, just do another AMA. Why not? It's a Friday, there's a lot of questions, people want answers to certain things, why not? Just really briefly, check out the new website. I'm looking over at my other screen, but you can see it here. Check out the new website at XETAcapital.com. It's beautiful. I mean, it's really beautiful. We came out with this on Monday, and I don't know, every time I think we have a great looking site and a great looking product, it just gets better. I mean, this is just beautiful. That's really the best word I have, is beautiful. No, that's not me in the space helmet. Some people have asked me, no, it's not me, space helmet. It's data by the numbers, just some really cool stuff. Right? There's a Teams page, there's a white paper, new dashboard as well. I'll just show you that really quick here. Well, new, I shouldn't say new, but new content, right? With this little graph up here. Really cool stuff. Great looking stuff. And great team page. And there's my ugly mug right there. And probably change my avatar to that as well. But check out the new website. It's really great. We got a lot of questions. I'm staring at a list of questions. Just want to touch on one thing really briefly just before we go into the questions, which is some of the FUD that's been going around. FUD, if you don't know what that means, it's fear, uncertainty, and doubt that's being spread about Gaxsys. And I have to be a bit veiled in what I say because it has become a legal matter. But I can touch on a couple of things. Some people have tried to say that, Gaxsys isn't real. This isn't real, that's not real, you're not real, I'm not real, your dog's not real, stuff like that, right? And I have to laugh a little bit just because Gaxsys is real, right? The returns are real, the financial services are real, the licenses are real, and believe it or not, the profits are real, which is pretty important because no other project really has profits, right? So, I'm the type of person that I really don't like to go out and use my platform to trash other people and trash other projects that, quite frankly, are failing on their own accord anyway. So I normally wouldn't even address like dumb FUD type of stuff, but I just thought I'd touch on this just really briefly before this AMA, since it's kind of crossed over, well, not kind of, it has really crossed over the legal definition of defamation. And I think it's a lot better idea to let Gaxsys and their billion-dollar legal firms handle that rather than me. I will say something, it's kind of a good life lesson though, right? I once had somebody who was very wise telling me that hurt people, and the only people who try to hurt others are those themselves who are hurt, and they want to inflict the pain that they're feeling on other people, right? So I have found, just really briefly, I have found that the enemy only comes after you if you're doing something worth coming after, right? Especially when you're helping people. So I've always said that if you don't have haters, you aren't doing anything. Right? The only people who attract haters who live in their grandma's basement are the people who are helping others for the better, especially in a space that has been, I'd say, scarred with nothing but lies. And frankly, I would use the word a landfill of unfulfilled promises that have been made that just have never really come to fruition, right? So in this space, especially, if you're helping people, you're going to attract haters, right? So, to the anonymous basement dweller, I want to say something. I want to say thank you. Thank you for confirming that what we are doing at XETA Capital is actually helping real people who have real problems in real life. And for letting us fix the things in the content that you found. I think that's great. It's great to know that the product you've built has been confirmed to be helping people by having a certain number of random accounts pop up out of nowhere and attack the only real project that's making a real difference. And by the way, we've only gotten started. Let's get into the AMA. All right, guys, you know my style, you know how I roll. What does success look like? I got to go over this a little bit. Besides scripture, this is one of the best things I think you could look at every day. On the left here, this is what people think success looks like, except this is what it really looks like on the right, right? And this applies to life. This applies to crypto. This applies to business. This applies to all sorts of things in life. Everybody expects a straight line up. Kind of picture, I always kind of, when I got into crypto, aligned this with crypto. Picture this as a chart. This is a crypto chart, your favorite crypto. XETA, it's called XETA, right? Everybody expects you buy here and it's just going to go straight up. Except in reality, what happens is you buy down at the bottom or wherever, right? And it goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways, it goes up again, and it goes down again, and it goes up again. This is life. This is anything. This is really, I think, the crux of if we could kind of hone in on this every day, that when life throws challenges your way, you will remember this right side of this image, and that this is really what life is like. It's okay to visualize the left, but expect the right. So when it happens, you're not caught off guard. You already know this is just part of the game, right? Game of life. All right, so let's get into some juicy questions, all right? This is asked, and by the way, if you want to ask a question, you can reach out to me, privately if you'd like, personally. Showtime2KX on Twitter. Of course, the easiest way really is to come into the Discord, the XETA Capital Discord, and you will see a channel that says AMA questions. Posting your question there is really the best way, the easiest way. It's a very central place. If you reach out to me with a question, I might forget. So just having it all in one place is really the best way. So if you have a question, that's the place to go. This is asked by, I don't know the pronoun, I'll just say he unless I know. Actively investing passively sounds like a play off of my YouTube channel. Two great questions. First, when using XETA to invest in financial services with Gaxsys, how are the tokens converted to USD for them to invest, and how does that conversion process reduce sell pressure? So what he's asking is, in a lot of projects, if there's any, I'm going to use air quote utility because there's really, there's never really any utility. Any utility is going to be activated or used, or you take part in that by selling the token, right? In our ecosystem, we decided, look, XETA is the currency of our ecosystem. We should be accepting our own currency. It doesn't make sense to not accept your own currency. It's weird. It's just straight up weird. So we accept XETA for the financial services when those services are available, rather than selling XETA for USD or USD coin or whatever. You deposit your XETA instead, so you never have to sell it. So the question he's asking is, how does that process take place? It's a behind the scenes sale, essentially, right? So profits that are created, accumulated, whatnot, whatever verbiage, vernacular you want to use, from the investments are put into a profits wallet that then takes your tokens and buys them on the back end, essentially, right? And then puts that USD, at some point lock it up. So your XETA token's worth $150, for example. You deposit 10 tokens, you deposit $1,500. That value is locked at the moment you deposit. At least that's the plan at the moment you deposit, which then the $1,500 is deposited into the financial services. Your token will be utilized in probably reward pool, liquidity, something of that nature. And that's how that process takes place. And that's really us accepting our own currency. It's just weird, strange that projects don't accept their own currency. It really gives a lot of utility. There's something to do. I've always said most projects have one utility, and that is to dump it. We have a lot of utility, and that's not even including the accelerators and all sorts of stuff we got planned for the token itself. Second question is, how are profits from Gaxsys paid back and in what form? So he's asking, you take your XETA token, you deposit into the financial service. Let's just say you earn a profit from the financial service. How do you get that out? How is it paid back? The details specifically I want to be careful of, because this is all being coded by developers. When developers code something, there's a difference between the way developers view something and the way a non-developer views something. I say it should be like this and this, and they'll say, well, technically there's a problem and here's why, and all that kind of stuff. So I want to be careful of making promises of when things are locked in, how long, all that kind of stuff. But the plan is to make it so that you can withdraw your profits in USD coin. I don't think that'll be an issue because the profits are onboarded really in anything we want. Technically, if you make a profit in fiat, you can come and buy whatever you want. But the plan is to make it USD coin on the Avalanche network, of course, and then that's how you would get your profits. There's got to be some sort of limit or rules. I shouldn't say limit, rules and guidelines on how often you can withdraw and all that kind of stuff. But it'll probably be like a once a month type of thing. I think that's the plan. And so when those services are available, that's how that will work. And that's from actively investing passively. It's a cool name. And also we are getting a question Moneyman 39 wants to know what the marketing plans are for Zeta. It's important to be cautious when you're discussing when, how, where, why, what avenues, what modalities you're doing marketing, because it can be, I guess, gamed. Maybe that's not even the right word. Just it's good to let people be kind of surprised by it, I think, so that people don't try to buy and sell certain times and time things. There are marketing plans. There's some marketing plans with some really big firms that I don't want to mention yet, because the main thing is new website, new white paper, new design, and then also get the financial services live. That's the bread and butter, are the services that provide utility, the accelerators, all this stuff. We'd like to have that live and up and going prior to any marketing, because that's really the, I don't even want to say complete product, because there's so much more after that, but it's kind of the complete product. It's at least the real utility that exists. So we'd like to wait until that's actually ready, the services especially, before we actually hop into any marketing. So when people look at this, they actually see what you can do, and they see that it's ready now. And maybe someone wants to come in and just buy 75 zones or 50 or 25 or whatever, without having to wait until the services are available. So that's kind of the plan, is to have the full utility and turn the full beast on before we do marketing. All right, let's see what else we got here. So Dark Lord is asking a question. It might be a misunderstanding, but I'll answer it anyway. It says, how fast can we release capital from Gaxsys in case the price drops from $100? No, so when you deposit your token, the value's locked in. So let's say, technically, I'll use the same example. Zeta is $150. You put 10 tokens into the blue chip service as an example. We have to work out the details of when it's locked in, but the idea is you deposit those 10 tokens. The token is worth $150 in the market, just an example. That would be $1,500. At that point, it's $1,500. It doesn't fluctuate after that. So 1 minute after you put that in, if it drops to 140, you're locked in at 150. If it jumps up to 160, you're locked into 150. So you have to keep that in mind. That's $1,500 at that point. And no matter of price fluctuations, it doesn't change that $1,500 price point. So anyway, that's the idea. Like I said, all this has to be coded. All this is being coded from scratch. There is no fork for the financial services. There is no code to copy. There is no going to another project to see how it's done so you can copy how they're doing it and then do it for yourself. This doesn't exist. Anytime you're building something that doesn't exist, if any of you who are entrepreneurs, you understand where I'm going with this, it is a beast, and it is a lot of planning. It's a lot of strategy. It's a lot of how to do things. So that way, when people want to come and try to copy you, they know how to do it, right? But there's nobody to go and copy this from. So just kind of keep in mind that this is going to take some time, but all these details could change. There's little details of when it gets locked in, when does the pool activate, all that kind of stuff. Details will be available before the services come out, but to lock in those details right now and say exactly how it's going to occur, I can tell you the idea behind it, but I can't tell you the certainty behind these little details of things. But just know that it's being coded on probably as I speak right now, and will be available. We're a month in. Today is, I didn't even mention this, today is the 1 month anniversary of Zeta. The 1 month anniversary of Zeta. We said that when Zeta launched, it would be within the first quarter. So we're a month in. Okay, so we basically have 2 months from now. That's the promise that was made. It's possible they can come earlier, okay, but they won't come later, right? So keep that in mind. There's people, I always use this, the word 25-hour days. People are working 25-hour days to make something that doesn't exist come to life. So just try to cut them a little slack if you don't mind. They would greatly appreciate it. All right, and Pierre's is asking, really great active member of the community, is asking, what's the motivation? Essentially, that's the essential question. What's the motivation behind, partnering with Gaxsys, offering the services, considering the amount of business they already attracted in traditional finance and other blockchain venture? So I'll kind of speak from the Zeta side of things, right? Because, I don't work for Gaxsys. I work really for the people, if I could be completely honest with you. I work ultimately for him, the Lord. But I work for XETA, okay? So I'll answer it from the XETA's perspective, which is, it's to give you guys something that doesn't exist. What I think is the greatest tragedy in the space is if you actually do your research in blockchain technology, how advanced it is, how complex it is, what the real problem that's being solved, and then you look at all this garbage that exists in the space, it's like taking a beautiful engine, a powerful engine in a car, and putting it in the inside of a shell of something that's like a piece of junk, for example, all right? And it's a big tragedy when you see the same project over and over come, whether you want to call it a node project, whether you want to call it something else, okay? People have all sorts of vernacular. I think that's a grand tragedy that the technology is not being utilized the way it could be, okay? So when you look at the space, I say there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something that we can provide people that does not yet exist, right? There's got to be some way of taking value that people don't have or don't have access to and bringing it onto the blockchain in some fashion, or at least building the economy around the blockchain and utilizing value off-chain as well as on-chain to bring it using blockchain technology. There's got to be a way to do this. There has to be an organization, a company that knows how to work in the traditional finance system, okay, and works with the big players, that's willing to open it up to the small players. Okay, there has to be some way to do this. So while other projects were interested, we were interested in actually saying, how do we make this different? And on top of that, how do we actually give you real utility for your token that you're buying, right? Rather than saying, oh yeah, you know, we're anti-fiat, okay, a lot of projects, we're anti-fiat, but we're not going to accept our own token, right? We're still going to accept a stable coin, right? Which is technically pegged to fiat, right? It's even backed by fiat in a lot of ways. If you go and look up, you know, I trust USD Coin, but if you go and look up some of the backends behind USD Coin, some of the backends behind DAI, Tether we know about, that's all fine. Like, they're safer in my opinion than a lot of other things, but it's so interesting that a lot of projects and project founders will be so anti-fiat, but yet they don't even accept their own currency. It's just really strange. And the main reason is because they don't know how to make money, really, is if you wanted to boil it down. Because if they knew how to make money, they could do the same utility kind of, you know, transaction that XETA's doing. It doesn't mean XETA knows everything and we have it completely figured out. No, I mean, we're figuring things out and we actually have a lot of ways to improve what we're doing. I'm just saying, it's just, to me, when you see the same copy and the same fork of every project over and over again, and it's so funny, they're still calling them nodes, and I thought we dropped that vernacular 6 months ago, but I guess we didn't. RPC endpoints was another catchword. I think trading bots will be the next future catchword, by the way. Keep your eye out for the word trading bots. That's going to be the next thing. But anyway, so the point that it's a long way of saying the fact that if you can provide utility and a real world use case. So I always look at myself from the outside because that's the, I think, perspective that I have, is looking at these projects from the outside, not from the inside, but from the outside and saying, what can this do? How is it different? Are you building something that I can actually use the token to do? Are you giving me a reason not to sell? Nothing wrong with selling. I'm just saying, are you giving me a reason not to sell? Are you giving me something else to do other than to sell the token? If you're not, okay, maybe it has some use case that I'm not seeing, but in most cases, if there's nothing for me to do with it, then there's a reason why they go straight up and they come straight back down. There's a reason for that, okay? So anyway, the bottom line is I sought out to provide something new, to provide something different, to provide something, not financial advice, but I think can potentially be life-changing for people, to create a real ecosystem. And by the way, a real economy is really what we're trying to create, a real economy centered around the XETA Capital ecosystem. So that's a long answer, but from the XETA side of things, I can't speak for Gaxsys. They would have to speak on that, you know, their own behalf. But from the XETA side of things, that's the answer to that question. So thanks a lot, Pierre's, for asking that great question. Have there been any third-party audits relating to company financials and or algo performance? Pierre's, another great question. Yes. It's all going to be released, especially with these services specifically. So I already showed one of the low risk reports. There's going to be audited, stamped audited reports they come out every so often, so I can't like get it right now. But prior to these services coming online, especially when you're talking about, I haven't even shown you guys private equity yet. I haven't even shown you guys the blue chip trading account yet. Those are being overlooked. If you look at private equity, it's one of the top investment vehicles for, you know, the ultra rich, technically, right? I mean, a lot of them made a lot of money, not just by starting businesses, running businesses, and providing a real service that real people want, that solves a real problem or a real product, but also through private equity, right? Negotiated private equity. And then retail is always the last one holding the bag on that one. But yeah, the answer is yes, there will be all the financial documents that you want to see, as well as the quarterly financial audits done by KPMG and PricewaterhouseCoopers. So if people are still doubting Gaxsys, I guess they'd have to doubt the two largest financial auditing firms on planet Earth as well, because I guess everybody's in on the conspiracy, right? My tinfoil hat coming out there. Excuse me. He also, let's see. So Pierre's also asking about the charity. Yeah, we're actually going to announce something on the charity very soon. Something was already donated to the charity. That's going to come out very soon. As a matter of fact, I'm going to bring the individual from the charity on and actually do interviews so you guys can see what did they do. And more importantly, how is the money that is in the XETA ecosystem providing and supporting this charity? You guys are going to love this charity. There's a lot of charities out there, and I don't mean to bash them. I'm just saying they take a large portion of profits, and very little actually goes to the real use case they're trying to solve, the real problem that they're trying to solve. This charity is very different, and this charity actually uses the majority of the money to solve the problem. I mean, people still have to get paid. Let's just face reality, okay? People who work in charities have to be paid. You have to have some marketing, so you've got to have budgets for this stuff. And of course, if you're a 501c3 operating off of donations, yeah, some of those donations have to go to that. But what you want to see is the vast majority of the donations going to the actual problem being solved. And the charity that we are going to be supporting, you guys are going to love it. You're going to be able to see everything. You're going to see the the charity wallet, as well as the great work they do. If it's something you guys want to go support by yourself separately, I'd encourage you to do that. And that will be, I don't want to make promises. I'd say another couple weeks out, maybe, before I get this person on. Maybe shorter than that, but that's kind of the idea behind it. So Pierre's great questions. I really appreciate it. So Steven is asking a really great question. He is saying, I'm curious how Gaxsys weathered the storm during the COVID crash, whether they capitalized off of it or took a bit of a hit from it. Are we able to view past performances from the HFT or other investments? Also, what kind of precautions do they have in place in case of a future black swan event occurring? So as far as the past performances, yeah, I already showed that on their low risk algorithm. So go ahead and check out, I think it was like 2 videos or 3 videos ago, whichever. Go and check out the actual report on that so you can see when the COVID crash happened. I think it was sometime in March, I forget the date. You could see like what was going on with the activity and the trades during that time, right? You know, what precautions they have in place in case of future black swan events occurring. I mean, yeah, look, I'm not in a position to answer that on a technical level, right? I can't say that the smartest traders and the smartest wealth management companies in the world, especially institutions that have stop losses and all sorts of mechanisms in place in case markets go a different way. Like today, you saw some of the currencies on the Forex market just absolutely getting obliterated. You saw the equities market getting obliterated, a lot of different things like that. So that occurs. You know, we have to face that as a reality. This is why traders, most traders, I think the number is like 90% or more, lose money, day traders, because of events like today. Crypto follows the markets, and commodities sometimes follow that, and all this other kinds of stuff. So anyway, how they weathered the crash, I mean, again, that report from the low risk HFT will show you some data around there. But I would say, just speaking on a generalized level, okay, from XETA, because I only speak for XETA, I don't speak for Gaxsys, they speak for themselves. Smart traders, I shouldn't even use the word just traders, anybody in wealth, okay, anybody in wealth. If you're smart, and especially if you're wealthy, you got there because of the fact that you can make money whether markets go up or whether they go down. So we as the retail, and I include myself in retail, by the way, I'm not a professional wealth manager or anything like that. When we look at these events like COVID, and I wasn't even in crypto. I actually have a funny story about that in a minute. I wasn't even in crypto yet, but you look at that and you're thinking, oh my gosh, people are like losing money left and right. The people who, have experience in wealth management, can you see an event like that coming? Kind of. I mean, if you're noticing lockdowns are being implemented, you probably know markets are gonna crash pretty quickly, right? So a lot of wealth managers are on top of this stuff. Algorithms can take a hit, of course, because they're seeing an event that's totally out of the blue. But a lot of that crash was just kind of short-lived. I mean, it did happen. So this is why I always say, guys, past performance does not equal future performance. Okay, just because Gaxsys has a trading algorithm, high frequency trading, that for 10 months hasn't had a losing month. That means 11 months ago it had a losing month. So kind of keep that in mind. And I think I was mentioning you can go and look on the high frequency trading for COVID crash. My mind was thinking 2021 is 2022. Yeah, we could probably get some data to show that, just to see like what actually happened during that time. But going back to that, it's interesting because I wasn't even in crypto when the COVID crash happened. I was getting alerts on my phone for Coinbase because I had the Coinbase app for some reason. And I was seeing Bitcoin coming down. I'm like, wasn't Bitcoin just 20,000 like a couple of years ago? And now it's like 2? Am I looking at this right? I should have just bought it, not knowing what I was buying. But nonetheless, retail reacts to things very differently than professionals do, especially algorithms. I mean, if you remove the emotional component out of algorithms, they just trade very logically, algorithmically, based on what they're seeing, up and down. They exit positions, they enter positions, they just do this kind of automatically. There's no emotions involved. Us humans are our own worst enemy when it comes to trading and taking profits and dollar cost average and all this kinds of stuff. So having the machines do it in an artificial intelligence way, then having the professional wealth managers behind it is really, in my opinion, the best sort of mix. I think that's really, if black swans will come in the future, right? That's why I always say, don't expect that you're always going to make money with a lot of these financial instruments, because you can lose money as well, just as well as you can make money. So that's a great question by Steven. Long answer. And down the road, we'll try to get some data for the COVID crash. I think that'd be very interesting to look at. My mind was in 2021 for some reason, and we'll see what we could do with that as well. All right, so somebody's asking, Ulrika, I think is her name, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that. Please elaborate on the accelerator options and when they will become active. I'm trying to compare buying 20 zones outright versus buying 10 with a diamond accelerator. Also curious that each zone earns 36.5 per. Okay, so the question about the accelerators, this is being coded as well from scratch again, okay? So the accelerator will be applied to 10 zones at a time, okay? There's different accelerators, there's different levels of accelerators, and what they do is they accelerate, right? They basically increase your rewards, but they decrease the lifespan. So if we have zones that last for a year, you will get your rewards quicker, but you will have a zone that lasts for a shorter period of time. So it's a balancing act. And the reason for this is because, well, a couple things. So there's some people that don't want to ride the ship for a year. Okay, maybe they believe in the price action short term, so they get more emissions short term. Maybe it's they want to compound faster because they're trying to get to maybe 25 or 50 or 75 zones quicker, knowing that the zones themselves will not last as long, but they can get there faster, right? Because we're not going to cut the services off right away. It's going to take, if you fall below 75, for example, and you're using HFT, I'm not going to just like cut you off overnight. There's going to be like a period for you to get back in. So you're going to be able to make decisions. Maybe you're trying to use the accelerators to get to that point, and then you don't care if some of them die off because now you're at 75. And even if you have some that die off sooner than others, you could just kind of compound and get up to like 100. And you know that if you lose 25, it's not a big deal, right? Now you can start going into the HFT. That may be a strategy people want. So we wanted to give people options about what, how can they sort of choose their own destiny, so to speak. And I see this as, again, I'm going to go back to the utility because it's important. A lot of projects, the token gets you into the theme park, and then there's nothing to do. All right, I wanted to have the token get you into the theme park, but then there's rides, there's concession stands, there's prizes to pick out, there's more rides to go on. That's kind of the idea, is to have a real economy, okay? A lot of things to do with your token. So you can buy the accelerators with your XETA. The accelerators are being built. I don't want to give a timeline on when they're ready. We're kind of trying to aim for the next 2 weeks, but again, don't hold me to that because, we only have so many developers and so much to build, especially these services. That's kind of the 80-20, although the accelerators are important. They are coming. So trust me when I say they are coming, but there's a lot of people churning and burning and working 25-hour days to code things and get things out. But they are coming, and that's basically how the accelerators work. So great question. Crypto Cowboy, how you doing, buddy? I've known him for a while. He says, where are we with the XETA being listed on CoinMarketCap or Coingecko? We are listed on Coingecko. I think you guys figured that out. We are listed on Coingecko. So in MetaMask now, your XETA token will show a USD value to it. You probably noticed that. We are listed on Coingecko. CoinMarketCap, we're still working with them, reaching back out. We're going back and forth. Actually, I haven't heard from them in a while, so I tried to reach out to them again. I think today or yesterday. I don't even remember now. But we are listed on CoinGecko. So that's really cool. And as an aside, this is important to mention. When you get listed on CoinGecko, okay, you guys know where I'm going with this. People monitor CoinGecko for new projects. When a new project pops up, bots, and I mean lots of bots, start coming into your Discord. Lots of bots start interacting with your Twitter account. So just kind of keep this in mind. So I say this because I posted in our Discord, I posted a scammer alert yesterday. Was it yesterday? The days are going so quickly now. Yeah, it was yesterday. So I said, be careful of people direct messaging you on Discord. A lot of these bots come in, and what they will do is they will oftentimes impersonate one of the moderators. Like, for example, they'll copy my name, my username. They'll say XETA-Showtime2KX, and then they'll have my avatar, and then they'll DM you. And then they'll just start talking, and then they'll get you to send them money or send them crypto or send them your wallet or send them your seed phrase or something. Okay? And you'll see that, oh, it's me, so obviously it's okay. It's my picture. No. Nobody, and I mean nobody on Discord, our Discord, from the team will ever reach out to you to send money, to get personal information, wallet, seed phrase, your address, your phone number, none of that stuff. That will never happen. So if you get a DM from anybody and they're trying to get stuff from you, stop the conversation, don't proceed, and let a moderator or let me know, and we'll take care of it. It's worth mentioning just because, boy, we were listening on CoinGecko, and like that, they all just started popping in like crazy. So it's a space where everybody's trying to make money and everybody's trying to do their own thing, and that's somebody's thing, is to have lots of bots enter Discord and just try to promote their services or promote fake followers, literally, I'm not kidding. Promote fake this and fake that and try to steal things, and it's a Wild West for a reason, and it's a dangerous sort of space. So the Discord's a great place to hang out. Just be really cautious about that. And as a matter of fact, I'll probably make a video showing you how to turn your DMs off so you just don't have that problem, right? But just, we are listed on CoinGecko. We're working with CoinMarketCap to get on there. So good question, Crypto Cowboy. Here's a great question. This was not asked directly in the AMA questions channel. Someone asked this, and it's just a great question. Who asked this? Burning Ice. What a cool name, Burning Ice. It's a really active member from our community. So the question is basically, what is the sentiment of old school wealth investors from Gaxsys, knowing that there's a way to circumvent a lot of those requirements with XETA, right? Well, if it was an issue, they wouldn't be here, for starters, right? But there's a few things to consider. While you may be circumventing many of the barriers, you're paying significantly higher performance fees to do that, right? So you're paying 25%. They're not paying 25%, right? So you're paying higher than the traditional clients would. Not only that, but you don't have access to any of these services right now, right? That's because this stuff has to be coded. This stuff has to be built. I mean, this is a beast. This is real infrastructure that has to be designed around this. So they have access to the services. You don't, and I don't, right? That's coming soon. But I'm just saying, as of this moment, those services are not yet available. right? These people have had access to services for years. Even when we do get access to the services, kind of keep in mind there's only going to be 3 services to start with. And they have access to an array of instruments and services, real estate, all sorts of stuff. I mean, all sorts of stuff, really. So, plus you had to put up capital and compound your way there. And, I recognize that still isn't cheap, but the thing is that you still had to participate to get there. It wasn't like you came in and dropped $100 and got access to an HFT that usually you have to have millions to get access to. So you still have to work your way there. And that's all designed to create an economy that's to be as fair as possible to everybody. So you have whales at the top, you got people in the middle, you got people, that can afford what they can afford, and they're down here. We need all 3. Every economy, every system, every ecosystem needs all 3. You need people with different goals, different ways of looking at things. You need people with different reasons to put in their money in. People who are doing different things with their token. This is what creates an economy of people. Really, at the end of the day, the asset is people. Okay? There's people who are whales. Maybe they bought 75 zones in a pre-sale. And they got access to the services, so maybe they're just holding their token. They're not selling, but they're claiming, they're just holding it. Then maybe you got people at 50 are like, yeah, well, private equity is great, but I want to get my way to 75 eventually. So they start participating in the private equity, and then they eventually move their way up into the HFT, and they kind of take their profits from the private equity and move it into the HFT, and they buy the XETA token. So there's that side of it. And there's people at the bottom, they're like, maybe they got 1 zone or 5 or 10, and they're like, I just want access to just 25 zones because this service is something unique, and as long as I keep my zones, I have the service. Unless XETA Capital goes under for some reason, as long as I keep the zones, I have this service, and this service is off-chain. It's cool. I mean, having utility where you have to work on-chain, the value's off-chain, but it's brought to you on-chain, but you participate on the blockchain to get value off the blockchain. It's a cool system. It really is a cool system. So we need all sorts of different people. You can't just have all whales. You can't just have the highest service being open to everybody with 1 zone. It has to be a balancing act. And that's why there's always going to be, people who say it's too expensive. You said this was for everybody, but I can't get in. Guys, there's a cost and there's a value. The moment that the value exceeds the cost, okay, that's when it makes sense to buy. If you don't see the value in the cost, you think the value's down and the cost is up, then maybe it's not the right option for you. And that's okay. I mean, if you say, hey, you know what? I look at XETA, I don't get it, I don't like it, I think it's too expensive, I think whatever you want to think, and you say, I'm not participating, okay. I'm not going to fight with anybody. If you don't want to participate, that's okay. I mean, there's no reason for you to fight. There's plenty of people that participate with the system. There's plenty of people that don't want to, and I respect both decisions, and that's perfectly okay. It's okay for you to not want to buy XETA. It's okay for you to not want to buy zones. Like, that's not a crime. You haven't murdered anybody, okay? You haven't killed anybody. It's all right. And just have respect for the people who do participate, and respect for the people that want to participate in the ecosystem. You may not want to, but they do. And it's okay on both sides. Nobody's right. Nobody's wrong. I know it's weird that I have to say this, but there's this bizarre tribalism, and it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, guys, there's I don't even know by now, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 tokens, projects that exist on however many blockchains and however many exchanges. I don't remember the number. They're not all going to make it. We just have to face reality. Not all thousands and thousands of projects are going to make it. Classic 80-20 rule. Classic 80-20 rule. 20% will rise to the top at the end of the day. And if your project or the project you're invested in happens to be that 20%, congratulations. I am glad that you did well. I am glad that you made money. I'm glad that your life is better for it. Okay? And, if the project you're not in is not part of that 80-20 and that ends up doing well, use it as a learning lesson. How do you get better next time? What did you miss? Maybe you take that and you build your own project. You say, I've seen this enough times that I think I know what can succeed and what can fail. And here's how. Here's how you build this. These are the tokenomics. This is where the tokens go. This is how this works. I've seen this fail, so I'm going to do it this way. That's okay. I mean, this is a creative space. You can be innovative, and you can be creative, and you can be different. I think that creativity is what brings out the best in a lot of humans, to be completely honest. I think when you get to that, low vibrational state where everybody is a scammer and everybody's out to get you and the boogeyman is in your closet, and if you go buy this token, the boogeyman's going to snatch you and steal your soul, and all this crazy stuff, right, is not healthy just for the cryptocurrencies, but it's not healthy for individuals. It's healthy for people, right? That's a very negative, very bad mindset to be in. I like to look for the best in people. I like to believe that people have the best intentions for their fellow humans. They actually want to see their fellow humans succeed. I want to see my fellow humans succeed. I want to see you guys succeed. I want to see you guys accomplish every single goal that is in this Discord goals channel. By the way, come into the Discord, look at the goals channel. Look at the real people. Remember that this space, Twitter, YouTube, Discord, crypto, there's a real person behind that account. Even though you don't see them face to face, like I'm looking into a camera right now, there was a real human. Okay, there's a real person on the other side that just wants to get ahead. They just want to accomplish that goal. They just want to retire their wife. They just want to do something for their kids. They just want to maybe start a family. They just want to buy a house. They're just trying to get ahead. Rather than being tribalistic and attacking people, we should lift people up. Raise our vibrational levels. Okay? Wish people the best. Pray for people. Give them words of encouragement. When you hold back words of encouragement, you're holding back a gift for somebody. That's a gift that you're not giving them. And I'm a little bit on my soapbox, I guess. This is probably a good way to end this, and I don't even know how the question morphed into what I'm saying, but it's such a negative, just evil, bad space sometimes. And let's just remember that there are real people on the other side of this. There's real people that see crypto as their ticket, their way to get out of their situation, whatever that situation is. And we're not here to judge that situation. We're not here to judge their goal of whatever it is they want to do. Okay? Whether it's something politically or religious that you don't agree with, that's okay. It's their goal. Let's just help them accomplish their goals and be the better people that they can be. And let's lift each other all up in doing that in the process. So that's an interesting way to end an AMA, and that's not what I expected, but it just went where it went. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I always say time is your most precious commodity, and it's something you'll never get back. So thank you for taking the time to listen, to watch, and to really participate with the community, because XETA Capital is not going anywhere. Okay, we've got something here that has never been done. We have a project that is just, I sit back sometimes with our team and I say, guys, look at this project. Like, I know we're stuck in the weeds and all this, but look at what it is that's being built right now. Look at something that's never been done before. And just kind of pause for a minute and just realize what it is you're building here. Okay, so that's an encouragement for you. I guess it's an encouragement for me as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take care and God bless.